Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to Business. The ECO could serve as a buffer in terms of currency trading among West African countries during the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. This according to the executive chairman of AB and David Africa, David Ofosu-Dorte. Even though the implementation of the single currency by West African economies has been shelved for now, owing to some constraints, Mr. Ofosu-Dorte believes the currency, when implemented, has the potential of checking currency instability of member countries.
The likes of AfriExim and WAMI have already created payment platforms, and I've actually heard that MTN and EcoBank are doing similar things, which is seeking to allow people to be able to get paid in local currency at any point in time. So every challenge itself creates an opportunity for somebody, but I believe over a period this will be resolved. There is the possibility of the ECO, except that the ECO itself has its own challenges regarding the Francophone, as it were, Francophones rush to start it as against collective West Africa. But those are things that I believe our leaders will resolve. I think we shouldn't confuse West Africa with Africa. They are two different things. Already, these Francophone countries already have the CFA. For me, the issue which is more relevant is whether or not the currency is indexed to the euro or the reserve is in France. And many all those things which, as it were, makes it look like there is an external control. Those are things I mean, it is not within my capacity to go into those things. But I do believe that irrespective of diverse currencies we use, CFTA will make a significant change.
So how then do we deal with forex exchange in this particular issue?
When you talk about forex exchange, so you are not talking, you are not referring here to the local African currencies, because apart from perhaps the rand, I stand to be corrected, I don't believe any of our currencies is easily traded. Even the rand has its own challenges. It's had suffered. The last time I knew it was 1 to 19. So we would definitely have to be dealing with the basket of currencies, which currently the IMF has 5 of them. Euro, pound, dollar, yen, and then now the RMB, the Chinese currency. So these currencies, in terms of FX, will still remain a challenge that Africa has to overcome.
The Private Enterprise Federation, PEF, is calling on regulatory agencies to retain monies received from the public as internally generated funds. This, the Federation believes, will enhance the capacity of the agencies in delivering their mandate. Ebenezer Sabote has more in this report.
The call by the Private Enterprise Federation follows a survey conducted which indicates that the country is losing significant amounts of money from the private sector as a result of payments or bribes to avoid delay in processing their business permits. The report also reveals that in 2018, Ghana lost about 12 billion cedis taxable income to corruption as illegal fees and payments made. The lead consultant for the survey, Clara Kasati, has been speaking to Joy Business about the need for government to resource the regulatory authorities.
Don't have the resources to do their job. So we have to address the resource issue. That's why we are recommending that all state institutions must be able to retain 100% of the fees that they charge. These fees are not taxes. They should not be going into the consolidated fund, because we know that once the money gets into the consolidated fund, getting the money out becomes a problem. You go to some of these institutions and basic things that they need for their jobs, they don't have them. And the procurement procedure is a bit complex. So what we are recommending is that all state institutions should be able to retain 100% of the fees that they charge, just that, like the caveat I noted earlier on, the accounting procedure for accountability must be strong within. Then they can use some of these fees to provide some of the resources that they need. We cannot keep not resourcing public agencies and then complaining that they are not providing the service. We cite the example. Someone has to go for inspection. There's no car to go for inspection. What do?
On his part, Chief Executive of the Private Enterprise Federation, Nanaose Bonsu, argues the private sector cannot be blamed because some of the agencies lack the necessary funds to expedite their mandate.
You have to start from somewhere, and starting from somewhere is the services that are required by the respective public agencies. They themselves have difficulties with resource, with capacities. So the ability to deliver on their services or mandate is limited. And once those are inefficient, it's passed on to the private sector. The private sector has set up its business. He needs these requisite licensing to be able to operate. And when the licenses are delayed, it's a cost to him because he has employees, he cannot start. When the license, permits, and certificates are not forthcoming, sometimes they cannot apply for opportunities. So it limits the ability to compete. It limits the ability to create their resources and their income stream. And then on the top of it is the unnecessary, unsavory demands by certain unscrupulous officials of some of these agencies unless you put weight on your application, delivery is going to be delayed.
The Federation launched a service delivery charter, which is expected to help improve transparency between the private sector and state agencies.
And that's all in business. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We are here bringing more business in the afternoon. Have a good morning.